Yeah, strap it in, because this is it. This is the one I've been building to. This is the one you thought you knew, but you knew nothing about it. And I know it's going to be some corny dude show up. Man, I knew about that. That's old stuff, man. I knew. You didn't know nothing. Because it was never brought into really the public eye at all. If you weren't in the circle, you really didn't know what was happening. This is the truth behind the beef with Nas and Eminem. The whole breakdown live. Now, once Nas dropped Ether, and he dropped that verse, that's why Eminem murdered you on your own shit. Boom. Right then and there, problems were created. Because everybody was, Ether became a big smash hit, that Eminem had to come out and defend that. And he was, no, I wasn't out doing Jay-Z. It was brought up to him in interviews. People was calling him. It's like, yeah, Nas said you murdered Jay-Z, and it was going to cause a rift, and Eminem didn't want that between him and Jay-Z. So he wanted to go out and do an interview and smash it immediately in the press. And it was like, man, Jay is one of the illest MCs in the world. This is not our intentions. And the thing is, Dr. Dre and Nas, because of the firm situation, they still was not really cool, because it's like Dre just kind of left the situation and didn't kind of stick around, and nothing explained. He just split. So it was kind of a strained relationship between them two. But Eminem felt like I can't have people go against me. Like, I don't want Jay-Z fans to get upset with me over something because I felt I was trying to outshine him. So he explained that it was a song that he had already written with Royce the 5'9". It just took Royce's voices out, his vocals out, and replaced it with Jay-Z's vocals. So that's why it sounds more like an Eminem record. But that's beside the point. The real issue became what Eminem was going to do to respond to what had just happened and what has just transpired. Like, besides giving the statement, what was going to happen next? Because he had what happened with that? He had a feud with Jermaine Dupri. Hold on. So Eminem was in a battle with Jermaine Dupri at the time. So once that was getting started or finished or whatever they were doing with that, he was working on finishing his album. But on his raps and in his interviews, he's ranking Nas as like Jay-Z is one of his favorite artists, and like Jay's ahead of Nas no matter what. So they felt the kind of little way about it, Nas did, because he's rapping on Ether freestyles, and I'm gangsta you in Ether. I show you I spit ether. I shit across your belly. Show you I'm not R. Kelly. When he did that on the Ether beat, people was like, I don't know. Was he kind of coming at you, Nas? So when Nas and Eminem met, well, they talked first, because they were getting ready to do the 8 Mile soundtrack, and they was doing it at the same time. He had just got through finishing his album. He's working on both songs. That I'm sorry, Mama, I'm cleaning out my closet. That was the 8 Mile song. And I think it ended up on Marshall Mathers CD. But Cleaning Out My Closet was supposed to be on the 8 Mile soundtrack. I'm sorry, Mama. You know, it went with the theme of the movie, but it ended up being Eminem's single off of the Eminem show. And during that time, like, Nas had the Braveheart album coming out. And the Bravehearts was riding on, you know, they was riding hard on Jay-Z at the time with Horace and Wiz and all his guys. So Eminem was like, okay, I'm finna put out this, you know, this soundtrack for 8 Mile, and he wanted Nas on the soundtrack. He's like, I want you on the soundtrack. You know, you one of my favorite MCs. I want to have a soundtrack with like all my favorite MCs on it. And he was like, I gotta have something from Nas. You know, like, you killing it out there right now. You know, you the king of this and that. Because he got in contact with him through Steve Stout. Because he's like, man, I gotta get Nas on here. How I'm gonna get in contact with him? So you got Steve Stout. And Steve Stout hooked it up where they both could meet and talk. So Stout got him on the phone. That's when he spit it all and ran the game down to Nas what he wanted to do. So Nas was with it. Nas was like, okay, yeah, okay, it's a good thing. So at this time, he doesn't know Jay-Z's on the soundtrack. Like, Jay-Z has a song on the soundtrack. So Nas go ahead and submitted songs for the soundtrack. And Eminem said he didn't like the song. He was like, yeah, I don't really like that song. And when he told Steve Stout, because Steve Stout brought the news back to Nas and was like, you know, Eminem don't like this track for the soundtrack. But he was like, it's no disrespect to you. He ain't saying the track ain't dope. He's just saying it don't fit, like, what the story is. You know, what they going for the theme for the movie. So he's like, he sent over a synopsis of the movie. So if that, you know, if you want to write something new around that, then that'll be cool. So Nas is like, okay, cool. He made another track just from scratch. Now this track, I don't know which one it was, but he submitted that one to Eminem. And Eminem didn't like that track. And he's like, wow. You know, like Nas was shocked. Like, he ain't like that one. He was like, you know, and it was getting harder for Eminem to tell Steve Stout, like, you know, I don't like it. Because he came back and told Steve Stout, yeah, we let Dre, I was with it, and then Dre was like, he wanted to change some stuff on the track. And I don't know if Nas was going to be cool with that. So if he want to submit another track, just tell him if he got something ready or something with the theme, then we'll go ahead and do it. And if he want me to help him with it, I'll help him with it. So Nas is like, man, look, give him this. And if they don't take it, they just don't take it. I'm done. And they took the track. The last track Nas submitted, they took. They said, oh yeah, this is dope. I like this. So they kept that track, but it was the only track Nas submitted that didn't have the Bravehearts on it. Nas, it was on the Bravehearts on the last two tracks. That track was just completely Nas. the You Wanna Be Me that you heard on the soundtrack. When he submitted that one, they took it. It was the only track he submitted that it was by himself. So he took it as if they just didn't want, the Bravehearts on there. Which is cool. They just wanted all Nas. Okay, that's what it is. The soundtrack comes out. And there's a track list. And there's Jay-Z song on there. And it's got Jay-Z, Benny Siegel, and Freeway. Or Jay-Z and Freeway. Not Benny Siegel. And it's Jay-Z and Freeway talking about 8 miles and running. And it's like, what? And Nas is like, oh, they played me. He was like, oh, they played me. He was like, nah, it looks crazy because I'm on the CD with Jay, and me and him ain't getting along. And it looked like him and him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm making an angry track talking about Jay, and he's like basically ignoring me doing, going with the thing. So Nas looked weird dropping that type of track on that soundtrack, coming at the same dude that's on the soundtrack. It sounds crazy. So Nas is like, man, did you set me up? He's, no, dude, I ain't setting you up and this and that, and I think you ill. And then he learns to love me and talking about how he's still Matic and how he's like, no, dude, I'm not even, I'm talking about Jermaine Dupri and all them, and I'm never coming at you, Nas, and blah blah blah. So it was all love out there. He produced a track for Eminem. Eminem produced a track for Nas, because he was like, I'll work on your album, I'll do something with your album, I'll give you a verse, or I'll do a song on your album, and let's do it. And he was like, okay, well, you could produce one of the tracks, because that's when he was working on Godson album then, so that's when they did The Cross. At the same time, he was out there recording, so he recorded this Cross for Nas. And that was like a peace offering. When just to end that little friction that was there, that y'all knew nothing about. Now watch everybody, I knew about that, man. Yeah, I knew, you ain't know nothing. So when that happened, everything was on back to even kill. Everybody cool, no problems. Then down the road, Nas ended up doing the song with Ja Rule, The Pledge. And when he did that song, that was about Jay-Z. Had nothing to do with no 50 Cent. But 50 is looking at it like, oh, okay, now you doing songs with Ja and this and that, knowing me and Ja got a problem. And so 50 is on top of the world now. When 50 was on the 8 Mile soundtrack too, he was just trying to get established and find his new look. So, he was trying to reinvent himself and everything else. And Nas is one of his biggest supporters and fans. Like, all right, 50 my guy. Then all of a sudden, 50 is taking shots at him on the Piggy Bank song. On the Piggy Bank. But before Piggy Bank even came out, he was taking shots at Nas in an interview that he did. And was like, yeah, and these dudes, like about his affiliation with Nas, and was like, how it is with most guys, they need protection or they need you to do something for them. Like that's when they have somebody like me, be associated with them because they might need you to do something for them. So they got me there, like that's where I was there. So that's what his relationship with Nas is like. Nas needed 50 to do something for him. Like, I need you to go do something for me. So, that's why I'm associating myself with you. Like Nas was soft or something. So, they took it a certain kind of way. Nas did, definitely. But he went after Eminem on the album, especially because you sitting there authorizing 50 Cent to come after me. And you should know him better, or you should have tried to check 50, but he didn't say nothing when all this was going on. And at this point, Nas had enough. So when Star Wars came out, they re-released Illmatic. They re-released the Illmatic CD. That was coming out. The Illmatic. The 10-year anniversary of Illmatic. Eminem had just dropped Encore. Okay. Met with so-so reviews. Encore comes out. And during the same time, Eminem got a song on there called Mosh Pit, and everybody talking about rocking the votes, and all this craziness was going on at the time, like John Kerry, the election, and Eminem like, let's go start a mosh pit, so Nas just had to make a song putting all this in perspective, because he was a little ticked off that Eminem allowed 50 Cent to be that disrespectful to him. And they would, like, M didn't come to his aid or say something like, no, Nas, it's cool, don't go at Nas, don't do this. He was basically not caring if 50 Cent decided to go at Nas. And it's like, okay, you gonna authorize 50 Cent to come at me like that and be disrespectful? So on the song Star Wars, he throws a small shot at Eminem, and all y'all missed it. When he get to the part where he says, y'all do roll with any clique that's winning, any crew, doing what's ever trendy, even enemy too. He called Eminem enemy. And y'all missed it, and y'all thought he said envying me too. And that's not what he said. He said enemy, which is Eminem's name. If you break it down, it's enemy. So I knew what he said. Eminem knew what he said. Believe me, they caught the message. Y'all missed it. They didn't. We all didn't miss it. So when that happened, his man Chuck, everybody else was like, "Oh, dude, that's in heavy rotation. That's gonna be on a mixtape." And everybody, and Chuck is a loudmouth. He's a little instigator. So he gonna spread the word. It's gonna hit the streets that's what Nas' plan was, and this and that. So believe me, word gets back to people fast, especially when it spreads through the industry. So what happened was, once that was made and he took that little jab, that's when 50 decided to do it in piggyback. Make the little song coming at Nas, because Eminem wasn't going to do it. He wasn't going to battle Nas or be the guy to say, I'm going to battle Nas. It was too much fear of him losing fans, and he wasn't going to take that leap. And Eminem was like, I'm just going to stand back. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to ask, was that a shot at me? I'm not going to ask anything. I'm just going to ignore it, because he didn't want to go to war with no Nas, because he just saw what happened with Jay-Z, and he didn't want that to happen with him, because he might not be able to come back. So he's authorizing 50 to do the fighting, and 50 want to do the fighting anyway. So 50 just got the green light to just keep going on Nas. So he come out with the piggy bank. So Nas drops the album, the other album, one when he's on there, when it's like the 12 Nas is on the album. And when he got the one song on there when he's talking about that Street's Disciple song. He's talking about where's the passion. Rappers battling non-rappers, carrying on backwards, laughing, thinking Nas think he's Farrakhan, preaching blackness. Now, who do you think he was talking about when he was talking about rappers battling non-rappers? Who was the only person battling non-rappers at that time? It was Eminem. Eminem was battling Moby at the time. And they was getting all the MTV, everything. Oh, Eminem going at it with Moby. And it was just retarded. You know, it's like rappers battling non-rappers. Where's the passion? You know, the game was destroyed. And then when he was talking about these are our heroes, and he was talking another shot about like Eminem when he was talking about don't be getting with these MCs just picketing and getting with anything to sell records. Because right now it's cool to be a conscious MC, but next year who knows what we'll see. And who was making a song about picketing? Eminem with Mosh Pit. Put him in a mosh pit. Come on, let's go march up to the White House. All these shots was at Eminem for authorizing 50 Cent to come at him. And Nas was going at Eminem and 50 Cent on the album. And a lot of people missed it. Nazareth Savage. You whack dude, face it. In the history of the game, you have no placement. Liquor and weed just massacred their mind, or these celebrity, or they couldn't change the times. So now they run their mouth, but when the sun goes south, them guns come out. My cavalry would have been slung 10 in your skin. A casualty you don't want to be, don't want it with me, straight savage. And see, people miss everything. All these little points that was made in the song. And I'm like, wow, how could you miss it? It was so lyrically sharp, and it was point right there. It was point blank range. So what 50 Cent decided to do is, I'm not going to come at Nas. I'm going to let G-Unit come at Nas and see how far that go. But at that point, Nas and the whole buzz, Lloyd Banks doing freestyles, Nas doing the body yourself freestyle, and all that stuff, it ended up dying down, and down, getting lower, and lower. And what happened was, at the end of it, Nas ended up pairing up with going to Def Jam. And once he started going over there, he said, man, what did he do when he went over there? Because he started pairing up with Jay again because what's his name wanted to bring him over there. He wanted to squash the beef. What was the other guy? A&R, the guy who don't wear shoes. The weird guy from LaFace. L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid wanted to go ahead and put it all together with Jay-Z. He's like, I'm going to have Jay-Z and Nas. It was all worked out with L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid's the one that signed Nas, not no damn Jay-Z. So, he talked to Jay already. You know, they both had a mutual guy with Steve Stout. Steve been working with Jay, made him Jay a lot of money, he made Nas a lot of money, and said, look, y'all guys gonna make 20 million, 30 million. This is gonna be the biggest reunion ever. We put this together. It's gonna be monumental. Everybody's gonna be talking about this. It's gonna be the biggest thing in New York. We're bringing it together. We bring it back to the streets. Man, this is going to be the best times of it, whatever. And that's when Eminem told 50 to just stay off of Nas, like leave it alone. Like that's dead. When Steve Stout and them got involved and they paired everything together, because when Nas was not with Steve Stout, all of this happened. All of this went down. After the Godson album, Steve Stout was gone again. He was back working with Jay and not really working with Nas, and they kind of had a certain way. So once Steve got a good relationship, partnership-wise, with branding companies, so that affects a lot of money with like Pepsi and all these other names. So that affects a lot of money with like Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, all these people. So they work with Steve Stout because he blends in with brands and marketing and help generate some bringing in money. So if one of his artists or somebody they respect is in there, they got enough respect to tell Eminem to take a step back. But Eminem didn't want to battle Nas, not of a fear of losing a battle, but a fear of losing a public image. The Paul Rosenberg, or whatever his name is, Paul Rosenberg was definitely afraid of letting Eminem battle Nas or anybody else with that type of stature in the streets, who the people loved, like lyrically. Like, no. They wouldn't let Eminem put out any material against Nas, even if he wanted to battle Nas. He just got to take it. So even if Eminem had the gall to do so, which he don't, Eminem has a lot of respect for these artists because he kind of is like in awe of them. Like Eminem, Nas is kind of one of the artists that he's in awe of, but he will never want to battle them, like come at him or throw some lines at him. So Eminem's, I'm not doing this, and I do believe him when he was saying, like, dude, I really wasn't coming at you. I really wasn't doing this. I really wasn't, coming at you. I believe Eminem because he would not take that path towards Nas. But what he did created an avenue where Nas was like, well, I'm going to throw these lines at you just in case you was. Now, you can ignore it and just move on, but my line's going to be there. So he threw him out anyway. So y'all make your own mind up on what happened. I know the truth and what went down. Because there was a lot of animosity when Nas saw that Jay was on the soundtrack with his guys, and Nas couldn't get on the soundtrack with the Bravehearts. It just had to be Nas by himself. And if you listen to the soundtrack again, you'll see how the Nas track is like really crazy compared to all the other songs that's on there. It just didn't really fit the theme what everybody else is doing. And it's like, okay, now I sound crazy on the track, being on the soundtrack. The other tracks would have fit perfect. But for some reason, they didn't want the track on there with the Bravehearts. So it just didn't make any type of sense. But Nas got a lot of money out of it. And now you know. I'm out. Catch the next ones. Don't forget, there's a playlist. So go on my page, find a playlist, listen to all these true stories about what's going on behind the scenes. I'm out.